Okay, it's Jim Montgomery here again from A4 Magic. The next thing you need to do once you've got your WordPress installed to this point is to go to the Settings tab at the bottom of the left menu. And we just go through this in sequence. We'll start with the General tab, the General Settings at the top. And once that pops up, what you'll see is the site title. Well, this is quite simple. If I flick over to the front end view, this title equates to this link at the top of the page, and also this link at the top of the page. The tagline equates to the line below the headline. You can choose to use these or not use them. That's entirely up to you, and depending on the theme, there are occasions when they won't be used. The URL is the link that this goes to, and the home page on some occasions could be in a different directory. So you could set the site up on a subdirectory but want the home page to be a different web address. So you put it on here. This is the admin email address, and WordPress can be set up as a membership site, but that's a different issue. This membership is with regards to who can actually work on the website. It may be that you have guest authors or you have outsourced workers who do some work for you on the site. Anyone can register if you check this, and anyone registering would be initially set up as a subscriber alone, and they couldn't do any work. However, if you wanted someone to work on it, you would probably give them either contributor, author, or editor level. Or it may be that you'd appoint someone else as an administrator. That's a choice that you would have to make as you go along. With regards to the time zone, well, that's very easy. You choose the city you live in or the time zone you live in, and you set it up in here. I would pick Belfast. You select the date format that you want. I'm quite happy with this one. And the time format and the day the week starts on. Save changes and you're done. And it's important to remember that save changes, because if you don't save changes before you leave the page, it will warn you that leaving the page will negate any changes that you've made, but you must save before you leave. This is the size of the posting box, and generally speaking these things are fine at the default settings. You can try it at 20 lines and see if that's enough for you. Converting emoticons, that's where you convert the little smiley sign to a little smiley face, etc. And it will do that automatically because the box is automatically checked. Again, unless you're into HTML and editing, you don't need to bother with this box. Default post category. Currently, we have no categories set up other than the uncategorized post that is set up as standard. Once you have categories set up, there could be one which you will sort of standard practice will be that anything you don't categorize will go into that category. Again, that's something we'll be looking at later, but this is where you will choose that. The default post standard is the common setting. Again, this is something that you'll need to play with and decide which looks best within your theme and within the layout of your website. And the default link category, again on a standard install, I've removed it from this actually. But what you have is what's called a blog roll, and that's just links to useful websites. Press this. This is a little application, if you call it that, that will actually grab bits of the web, and you can drag this up and park it on your toolbar at the top here, and whenever you come across something that you like, you can just grab it and place it into the post that you're actually working on at the time. Posting via email. There may be times whenever you can't actually access your blog directly, but there's maybe you're maybe reporting from somewhere that you want to be able to update that information. These systems here all facilitate that. You can post via email. You set yourself up a username and a password, and again you can choose the category that goes into. You can set up publishing via your mobile phone or other mobile device by enabling the Atom publishing protocol or the XML, and once you do that, you'll be able to post using your mobile phone no matter where you are. The pinging service, this is something whenever you make a new post, this basically tells the robot, this pings the search engines, and the robots within the search engine setups come along and spider your site and add any changes to their search results. In our custom installs, we have an extensive list of websites which get pinged every time a post is made. We'll move on to reading. The front page can be set to display your latest posts, or it can be set as a static page, as I have at a4magic.com. This is a static page where my blog, which contains the posts, is another page on a different tab. This is where those settings would be made within the site. I have a static page, and once their page is created, you can select which page you want to use as your front page. You then set up a page called blog, set it to posts, and that's where all your posts will be put. This decides how many blog posts will show on a page. Most people keep it to 10. You can have it at 5 if they're particularly long posts, or you can have it at 20. The choice is yours. It depends on how far you like scrolling down the page, really. This is the number of feeds from your most recent posts that go into the RSS feeds that people subscribe to. And again, you can decide for each posted article whether you show the full text or the summary. Normally the full text is best. However, again, if they're very long posts and articles, the summary may be best. Again, don't forget to save changes. We then go into discussion. The default settings in here tend to suit most people. So unless you really know what you're doing and know about the changes that you would make within this area, you're best leaving it a standard, really. And each one is quite self-explanatory. If you check them, that actually selects it. If you uncheck it, it obviously deselects it. The ones that are deselected here at the moment, users must be registered and logged in to comment. That would stop anyone who's not a registered member of your website from leaving comments. You can stop posting comments on articles within a specified time period, so therefore once it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever age, you want to stop people posting on it. Once the comments go beyond a certain number, you can break them into pages again, so you don't get pages which are miles and miles long. You can select whenever the system emails you regarding comments in posts, and also when a comment is held for moderation. When you come down to the moderation area here, this is where you can add keywords, which if they happen to be within a comment, they will go immediately to spam. So it gets rid of some of those words that you wouldn't want to appear on your website. You can choose to show avatars on comments or don't show avatars. You can also select the rating your website has. Unless there's something nasty on it, you're always going to keep it for all audiences. And you can have the traditional mystery man, or you can choose from one of these icons to set the gravatar, which will appear beside someone's comment. We go into media. This is the size, standard size for a thumbnail, medium size, large size. Again, these tend to be fine as they are unless you have other specific requirements. Auto embeds, this is whenever you perhaps paste a URL in from, as it says here, Flickr or YouTube. It will automatically embed the media and it will fit the default settings to suit the width of your theme. So it will fit it in perfectly well. You just leave these settings alone unless you have another requirement. When you upload media, photographs or whatever to your website, by default they're stored here. If you want to change that, and again I would suggest unless you have a particular reason to change it, you should leave it at default. You can name another folder in here, and again this is a default option. Leave it blank unless you have a need to do otherwise. This box checked, organize your uploads into month and year based folders, which can of course make stuff much easier to find when you're looking for it at a later date. The privacy settings, this is quite simply, do you want everybody to be able to see it, including search engines, or do you want to block search engines but allow normal visitors? Most people are obviously going to want the search engines to spider their website. Permalinks. By default, these are the type of links that WordPress generates. They're not very pleasant, they're not very search engine friendly. I always recommend a custom structure, and you can choose the custom structure yourself. However, personally I choose category and post name. It keeps a nice clean image of a URL and people can tell exactly what it is. It also makes it a bit more search engine friendly. You can choose for your category to be called something other than a category. It could be item of interest, or it could be whatever label you want to give a section on your website as opposed to category. And also the tags, you can put in keywords or important words or some other title instead of tags. And again, don't forget to save your changes. WP Super Cache, I'm not going to go into in any depth just at the moment. This is an extra plugin and that'll be covered in a separate video. So you're fine down to permalinks, and once you've got those settings organized, you're really getting to a stage where you're ready to start looking at putting information in your website. That's it for this one.